Yo, yo, yo.
Wait, you gotta clap first. You ready?
Oh.
No, not everybody. Alright, welcome back to the pod.
It don't matter.
Had me confused.
Welcome back to the pod. We're not editing it out, so
Keep it everything original.
take that. Alright, so
So-
last time we talked about vision. Christian, I know you want to do the intro, so please help me out with the intro.
I got you. Yo, yo, yo. Welcome back to Everything is Everything. We got your hosts, Chris, Christian, Ryan, Steven. We're coming at you with a new topic today. We're talking about why do visions fail? Now, I'm going to lead it off. And I want to say that visions fail ultimately and most likely because of the people around you. And I think the people that you associate with yourself usually tie into your vision. Because you lead your vision yourself, but you also have to have the people around you that gather you, that form you, that really turn you into a good person. So when you have corrupt people that are in your circle, it ultimately leads to the demise of your vision.
Absolutely.
I almost feel like some people, they focus too much on what everybody else is thinking. Like you said, last podcast, you were talking about how, some people like to work off of everybody else's reactions.
Mm.
But in terms of what makes visions fail, I think there are really like three main factors, right? And those factors are what you think about yourself, what other people think about you, or what society is trying to make you be. Right? For example, say you're from a town where everybody's a coal miner, yeah? And your parents, ultimately, they want you to be a coal miner because everyone else in the town is a coal miner, right? So, I mean, you may not want to be a coal miner. Say you want to be a NASA rocket scientist, right? So you could tell your parents, you could be like, listen, I don't want to be a coal miner, I want to be a rocket scientist. And they may not support that because everyone else in the town is a coal miner, right?
Yeah.
But, that's just a perfect example of society really trying to almost dictate how, you should behave.
Right.
Yeah, parents are a hard one to get around at times because, you can't always just cut off your parents, you know what I mean?
Almost never, really.
Yeah.
Almost never. It's hard.
And sometimes they're not even doing it to, be, hating on you or, make you feel bad about it. They just want you to do something they know you can be, successful in or whatever, especially if, back to your example, if everyone's a coal miner and, you can get a stable job being a coal miner, your parents want you to have that stability. They don't want you to be a bum. So I can understand how, sometimes that's a huge challenge, is my point, is with certain people you don't want to cut off, but you almost have to, move them around with your vision so you can keep progressing in it. You know what I mean? So, you were saying, you can't always care about, what they say or think.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, not everybody wants you to excel past the level that they think you should be at. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that video of fleas. They get put into a little jar like that big, right?
Okay.
At the beginning, the fleas are jumping out. They're jumping everywhere. They jump out of the jar because they don't want to be there. They screw the lid on. 3 days later, they leave them in there for 3 days. And after that 3 days, they are physically unable to jump past that, where that lid was.
No.
So it's like they adapted to what their surroundings were, right? Okay. So a lot of times, and you could really apply that to the analogy I just made right there. Like if you're a coal miner, everybody else is a coal miner, chances are, not necessarily true, but chances are that you're probably going to be somewhere in the coal mining field, right? Like something near that because everybody else is, right? And that's what's called, I forget what it's like, the illusion of truth, and I forget what my boy said. Exactly. But the illusion of truth is essentially, even if it's false information, if you hear it enough, then you'll start to believe that it's true.
Okay.
And that's happening a lot. Yeah. Even in terms of outside of the analogy.
There's a name for that. I think it's called the Mandela effect.
No. The Mandela effect is more like you remember something differently than the way it was.
Oh, okay. No, you're right. You're right. Yep, 100%.
Yeah, but I wish I could remember what he said it was called, but yeah, and that really applies to even stuff that's going on today, you know what I mean? Because in terms of, look at political beliefs. I'm not going to sit here and spew my political beliefs because I don't really care about politics, to be quite honest with you. And I don't really understand why anybody cares about politics. I mean, I do. It's important, but to sit there and like let it really affect how you view someone else. I mean, just because of the way that they perceive a situation. And the biggest thing to remember is everybody's arguing their own reality.
Yeah, it's all opinionative.
Yeah.
It's very opinionative. So, it's kind of hard to let people's opinions skew your path because you have to kind of guide your path. So if you're trying to let all these different people, like I said before in many podcasts before, if you're always trying to let somebody skew you off your path and you're always listening to them, you're just basically falling into the pathway that they have for you. If you're always trying to get people's perception on you and you're always looking out towards other people, it ultimately skews your vision and where you want to go because you're so focused on other people. So, I mean, I think that's where a lot of people's demise happens because they're so worried about how do I get this person to like me, or how do I get this person to be on board with me so that I could continue with that, with that person.
People pleasing, right? And I think that once you get past that obstacle, your life is so much freer, right? Like, imagine, all right, I want everybody to imagine this for a second, right? I'm sure, obviously, we've all been here. We've all been worried about what somebody thought of us at some point or another, yeah?
Yeah,
definitely.
I mean, it's just human nature. But I want you guys to think about, just for a second, how liberating your life might be if you never had those thoughts in the first place, right? And I'm not... And what's important is that, to sit there and say, what if it never happened or something like that, it's stupid because it did.
Right.
It is, right? However, if you have that view, you can start to ask yourself, okay, is it even possible to change that for the future?
Oh yeah. There's a quote I heard that's huge on that. So it's like reputation is what people like think of you as, and character is what you really are. And you don't want to conform to your reputation. Because if everybody, I don't know, like say you showed up to, we'll use an example because we're all guys here, we've all been to like a sports camp. Show up to sports camp, right? You get there, your first day, you do terrible. You do terrible.
Absolutely.
The next day, everybody's reputation of you was this man could not catch a single pass. We'll just say it was flag football. You could not catch a single pass. No one wants to throw to you. But that next day, you just had butterfingers that day. You just were messing up. You were a little nervous. But you can catch that ball. And now the rest of it, you break through that mental gap. And you just keep performing what you're capable of doing. Yeah. So it's huge and it's hard because it's a lot of pressure, and it's really annoying when you can do something and everybody's looking at you as like a crab in the bucket. They want to pull you down. They don't want you to succeed in a sense. Not even just in a hating sense, but in a it's sports. Right. There's only one number one, right. So it's not even I wanted him to fail, but it's more of at least I don't. I can get ahead of this guy.
Yeah, I was talking to my boy about that just yesterday, about how basketball's got to be one of the most frustrating sports, right? Because if you suck at basketball, you go to the courts. Me and Christian used to play basketball like every day over the summer.
Facts.
And I remember Christian would absolutely destroy me in every game of horse we played. And I sat there, I was like, dude, I got so frustrated. I was sitting there throwing rocks, bro. Right. I've come a long way, right? I wouldn't necessarily be doing that today, but I used to
we'd be there for like 30 games.
30 games.
It'd be like 30 games at horse. I'd be on the 30th game. It's like
29 to like 1. 29 to 1. And
he's won one game. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, it's pitch black outside. I'm like, Chris, it's time to go home. And he's like, no, run another game. I'm not leaving until I'm winning. And I'm like, yo, you ain't won a game since like 5 hours ago. And like, you ain't won a game since like 5 hours ago, bro. It's time to leave. And I think when you're so motivated and you have a goal, it's hard to lose track of your goal when you're so determined to get there. Yeah. So when you have
just go home, right?
Right, you don't just want to go home because if you go home without achieving what you really wanted, you're not satisfied. And some people are okay with not having that satisfaction in life. But ultimately, if you want to get to a certain point in your life, there has to be satisfaction with wanting more. You can't be satisfied with what you have on the table. There always has to be that plus one. There always has to be something more, something that you have to go achieve. So when you know that there's something on the table and there's more behind it, you got to go get it.
Yeah, Steve, I don't want to throw you on the spot like this, but have you ever been in a situation like that maybe, like where you just you want something so bad, right? And maybe the odds aren't in your favor for that to happen, you know, at that very moment. But you just want, you know, the result.
Even Purdue.
I mean, I can't think of a particular example, but
Purdue.
what about it?
You worked your ass off.
Oh yeah, I mean, I suppose, but I mean, I'll use higher education as an example, right? I mean, you can graduate from high school and go in a lot of different directions. You can go military.
Yeah, I got a friend that's going military. We're
Yeah.
on the pod one day.
Yeah, exactly. You can go into the military. You can go straight into the workforce, you know, and start working somewhere. Or you can continue your education, you know. And that can be a community college. That's perfectly fine.
That's what I'm doing.
That can be a 4-year institution. Doesn't matter. But as long as you see yourself progressing, right, in some beneficial way, whatever it may be, you know, that's what matters. You know, I mean, the path you take, right, there's not going to be like a definitive end to it, right? It's always going to keep.
Someone's gonna keep going.
It's going to keep going.
I think that's what's really different about the self-improvement path. It's almost that you understand when you take it up that there is no end.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you're just gonna understand that, and if you're not ready to fail and fail and fail and fail and fail, then don't even start. To be honest with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I've had many failures in my day. You know, I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm perfect because I'm not. Right? Like I've had tons of goals that I didn't reach, but what's really important is that I said, okay, I didn't reach it, but I still have this goal. A perfect example is like basketball.
Definitely. I was literally just about to use basketball as an example. Like, and I'll use my high school basketball career. I remember when I first started as a freshman, I was terrible. I'm just gonna say I was terrible.
Still much better than me for what.
I was terrible my freshman year. I didn't play very much my freshman year, but I remember the summer of that freshman year, I worked my tail off. I was running 4 to 5 miles every day. Every day of the summer. I was up at 6 a.m. going to that basketball court. I was training, mid-range, 25 jump shots, back and forth to arc. I was doing everything, bro.
I remember we went on a couple runs during that time. You would leave me in the dust, man. This was much more athletic
Chris was struggling. He was sweating. Sounded like he had asthma. Man, he could not keep up. And
true.
I remember I was
Hate
just... he hates working out, push-ups, anything. He just won't do it. And I was like, yeah. And it's because I was so dedicated to trying to get...
I mean, it's true. I hate working out, bro.
And that's not everybody's... Everybody has something different about them.
You're right.
Yeah.
And it's not everybody. You can't force somebody into doing something that they don't want. If it's not meant for them, it's not meant for them. You
That is so true.
can't force somebody into doing something that they don't want. They have to want it for themselves. And until they got that want in their heart and they want to do it for themselves, they will ultimately start doing it for themselves.
There'll
But
be
you
something
can...
else until then. I mean, that's a perfect example, like what we were just talking about in the beginning of the pod, like with the coal mining thing. Like their parents are like, "You're gonna be a coal miner," and that's that. But he's like, "I just don't want to be a coal miner." You know what I mean? Like I want to be a rocket scientist. I want to be an engineer. I want to be a real estate agent. I want to be a doctor, a surgeon, whatever the case is. They don't want to be a coal miner, and you can't force somebody to want to be what they don't want to be.
Right. They will ultimately make the decision on what they want to do for their life.
Yeah,
And it's their life.
I also want you to touch up on the fact that everybody has different things that are meant for them.
Right.
Because I heard you say that a couple of seconds ago when you were talking about how, it's not meant for them. You know, for example, working out. It's a great thing.
It is.
You know, it's a great thing. I should do it more probably, but at this moment in time, I really do have different goals.
Right.
You know, and I've been working out, here and there, almost every day, but not like, sitting there pumping iron, you know what I'm saying, for like 2 hours. But like just small workouts to keep yourself in shape, right? But for example, working out is not for everybody. I want you to just talk about, how different people have different goals and how different things are and aren't for certain people.
So, like I was saying, everybody has different pathways for their life. And, nobody's pathway is the same as another person's. Even like twins. They will still have different pathways for their life. So, like me, I love going to the gym. I love working out. I'm just an athlete. That's what I enjoy doing.
Right.
But that's my life. That's a part of my life that I'd love to do. Now, me and you, we're not the same. You have different goals and you have different aspirations for your life. So you're going to do what you're entitled to do, which is tied to your vision.
Right.
So you're taking steps and doing things like reading books, looking online, finding YouTube videos on what will get you closer to your vision.
Right.
Ryan's going to do the same for him, and Steven's going to do the same for him. So no matter where we go in our life, we're always trying to take steps that align us with our vision. So everybody's pathway is always going to be different. There's going to be different things in your life.
That's
I
a
want
perfect.
people. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I want like people to understand too, like when it comes to like those visions and things, like to what you were saying earlier, like you don't always reach every single goal, and sometimes it's because to like what we were saying, like with that want, like you get further in something, you just realize that's not what you necessarily want. But that doesn't mean it was a failure. Like, if you can take those lessons from everything, like, that's how you find out what you want to do, is by finding out. The best way to find out what you want to do is find out what you don't want to do.
Yeah, that is so
That's
so.
so.
Hold on, can you elaborate on that a little more? Because that is a
great.
good piece of information. I don't want it to fly over anybody's head.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, if so my point is it's not a failure to go out there, right? Try 20 different things. Hate all of them.
That's good.
Hate all of them. But you know what? You don't like those 20 things, right? And now you're on the 21st thing, and you love that thing. So this is one thing I like to always say, because I feel like, especially all of us, we grew up in Robbinsville. It's a pretty privileged town. I genuinely you meet kids.
True.
Right.
Very true.
And I'm not trying to call anybody out, but we're all immature in grade school. It's what it is. Yeah. Somebody's going to have an immature moment. Mm-hmm. But people sometimes think they're so ahead because of the things they have now, and that's where I'm coming into, like, if you keep the lessons, it's more important. Because if you've been on something you think you like your whole life, and then all of a sudden you don't like it, you're like, what the hell am I doing? You know what I mean? You're scared. The dude who failed at 50 things, you were making fun of him, but now he knows 50 things he don't like. You're not even partially. You're not even
he's already on to the thing that he does like.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. You're not even a 50th of the way there. You only been on this one thing, and all of a sudden you don't like it.
Because everybody sat on their couch like a jackass making fun of him for that.
Exactly, bro. And that's exactly why I was saying earlier with the reputation versus your actual character. Don't let reputation push what you do, because you can get somewhere. I was that way. I was going to Mercer. I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do. I never thought in my mind I'd want to become a professional dog trainer, like on the side of like this podcast. That was like a past year enlightenment light bulb went off in my head. I was like, you know what, I can do this.
All right, well, we're almost getting up to the limit of the pod for today.
Yeah, today has to be a little short.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little short because we've got a small SD card. We're kind of testing out a new setup and stuff like that. But to end off, I want to just give y'all a real life example where I've been in terms of that.
Yeah.
I'm a server right now at Villa Barone. It's like an Italian restaurant, right?
Oh shit.
I don't necessarily.
Oh yeah, he's.
I don't necessarily, love it at all times, right?
Yes.
But nobody does. Nobody loves their job at all times. But I tried another job.
Fact.
I tried another job.
Fact.
I tried another job.
It's very much a fact.
Delivering papers in Princeton. Hated it. Did it for one day, and I told my boss, I was like, look, I don't have time to do this. I don't have time to do this. It took me 10 hours.
Damn!
10 hours to deliver some papers, bro.
Oh my god.
But really, we're running up on that time. So I appreciate you guys for coming out today. I appreciate everybody for watching. Like I said last time, anybody needs anything, hit me up. Anybody needs anything, hit us up.
Definitely.
Any one of us.
Like, comment, subscribe, leave a comment. Tell us what you think. Give us feedback. We're always looking for new criticism, new feedback, and everything. So let us know. We'll see you on the next one.